what's going on. Also, vous tous, please also to have you here to receive me, Mr. Odar, and also Mr. Godwin. And did you pronounce like that, Ronnie? Okay, thanks. Monsieur, you pronounce it better than I do. Monsieur le maire, représentants municipaux, distingués invités, mesdames, messieurs, et nos vétérans, and dear veterans. Thank you for being here. It's late. I know it was supposed to be close to 7:30. We have a vote tonight, many votes tonight, and it's for that we are in late, but it's part of for any member of parliament, and when we are in a minority government, we never know how the agenda may change in each day. And I am always glad to meet our veterans with my colleagues, my esteemed members of parliament. And this evening, however, I must confess that I am particularly honored since Pierre Lemieux, your member of parliament, is himself a veteran. He served our country for 20 years with the Canadian Forces. And he continues to serve his country in a different way today, and that is as your representative in the House of Commons. When I was appointed as Minister of Veterans Affairs 15 months ago, I met with him in order to have a better understanding of this portfolio. I can assure you that with Mr. Lemieux, you veterans have a strong advocate. Thank you, Pierre, for your dedication and your advice. Thank you. And it is always an honor to be in the company of veterans, and especially to listen as you share your individual stories. You always speak with such humility, but I know the truth. Everything you've done for our great country has been extraordinary, your courage, your dedication, and your sacrifice. Indeed, if there is one group of Canadians to whom this country owes an undeniable debt of gratitude, it is you, our veterans. Alors, non seulement le gouvernement comprend-il cela, mais nous sommes déterminés à rembourser cette dette immense en nous assurant que tous les anciens combattants et les vétérans obtiennent les soins et obtiennent le soutien dont ils ont besoin et qu'ils méritent. That's why I'm here this evening, and I believe it is important to keep reaching out, not only to let you know what's happening at the Department of Veterans Affairs, but to hear what you have to say about it. There are changes taking place all around us in the department and even within your own veteran organizations. Just look, more we advance, more we see young people in our veterans. And we may look the diversity of the people who have turned out. On the one hand, we have traditional veterans who are now in their late 80s and 90s. Their needs continue to change as they grow older. At the same time, we have a growing number of modern-day veterans. You may be surprised to know that the average age of the Canadian Forces member leaving the military today is just 36 years old. Let me share with you another fact. Just 5 years ago, only 30% of the veterans we serve were modern-day veterans. 5 years ago, only 30%. Today, that number is 45%, and in some areas of the country, we already serve more modern-day veterans than traditional veterans. And this is a new reality we must recognize, adapt to, and address directly, because the needs of these younger Canadian Forces veterans are increasingly complex and challenging. And quite frankly, the Department of Veterans Affairs needs to change faster to keep pace with these very different times. Alors, je tiens à vous assurer que nous faisons des progrès réels et concrets. pour améliorer les programmes qui offrent une meilleure qualité de vie aux vétérans du Canada et que nous faisons des progrès réels et concrets dans notre façon d'offrir nos programmes. À l'automne, par exemple, le gouvernement a annoncé des mesures visant à hausser de façon significative les prestations mensuelles à l'intention des vétérans de l'ère moderne. Ces mesures législatives sont incluses dans le projet de loi C-55 et elles totalisent 2 milliards de dollars. I'm the only minister in the government under recession time who obtained $2 billion from the Prime Minister who was not previous at 1 year before. I'm the only minister obtained that. Why did I obtain this $2 billion? Because my colleagues and Prime Minister agree that this new veteran charter needs changes. We need to improve our services to our modern day veterans because there were some problems. And we told you 5 years ago when we adopted this veteran charter that it will be a living document. But nothing happened. And why nothing happened in those 4 or 5 years? It's because our modern day veterans, when they are in Afghanistan and when they come back, if they get injuries, they're still in the army for 2-3 years. They will have their full salary for 2-3 years. It's only after that they are under Veterans Affairs Department. So by the time we realized what were the problems, what were the gaps that we have to fill, it took a certain time. But we have seen the problem. I have listened to you and I have acted to support our veterans. So when that event happened, I met our representing associations. I met Royal Canadian Legions, ANAVITS, and all the other groups to listen to them, asking them what are the priorities, what should we work on. And also, Prime Minister asked me, Jean-Pierre, tell me what are the problems, what are the priorities in this department? What should we do for our veterans? What kind of help do they need? What is the situation? So on a weekend, I remember that, talking with the deputy minister, talking with the staff, with all to look about what should we change. The list was long, but I have also to choose what are the priorities. And those 3 priorities were the one that I will talk about. The first one was about the earning loss. The problem of the earning loss when those modern veterans arrive from Afghanistan, when they get injuries, we know now that those people, they are 20 years old, 30 years old, they don't want to be back home waiting for their whole life. They want to be part again in the civilian life, they want to be active in the society, and they want to have a new job in relation of their illness, of their handicap. So now when they follow the rehabilitation program, instead to have only 75% of their salary, when it was the minimum salary, it was not enough. So now the minimum they will obtain will be $40,000 a year when they follow this rehabilitation program. The second changes that I realized that I have to do was about the permanent impairment allowance. If you get injured, you may obtain an amount of money, which one will be $539 to $1,609 a month. It's monthly payment for their whole life. But the problem was only 16 of veterans receive this amount of money. Why? It's because when the law was voted, when the bill was voted 5 years ago, there were a problem that nobody has seen. So we will correct the situation by considering any injuries you have before the new veteran charter or after the introduction of new veteran charter. By doing this change in the law, 3,500 veterans will be admissible to this amount will be between $536 to $1,609 monthly payment for their whole life, depending on the amplitude of the injuries. That's what we will correct. Also, for those ones who are not able to go back to work because they're too severely injured, we will give them another $1,000, which amount will be added to the $1,609, for example. So now, you follow the rehabilitation program, you will have $40,000. $40,000. You cannot go back to work, the minimum will be $58,000 until 65 years old. Now, that will be part of the law, Bill C-55. The third aspect was about the lump sum payment. Just to remind you, I went in Valcartier, listened those soldiers who were complaining about the lump sum payment. And I remember after this evening asking the department, is there many people like this, or it's only 1-2 person who have this problem about the way to manage the lump sum payment? They didn't know. So I asked, why should we should do an inquiry to look about what are the point of view of our veterans. Do they like this lump sum payment, or do they disagree? And is it true that they spend it on not on the correct way? So we realized that 69% were pleased with the lump sum payment. The lump sum payment may go up to $276,000. And I passed very close to stick there, because it was good, 69%. If I may win my next election with 69%, I will be very pleased. But in fact, we have a look about the 31%. And the 31% was people, most of them had mental problem, psychological problem. Some were suffering from PTSD. So this is my responsibility as minister to protect them. This is important in the life of a person. When you have responsibility, you have to assume those responsibility and to protect the people who are more affected, the weakest people. So I decided to do some changes. And my idea was fixed. I went in Afghanistan, talked to soldiers over there who are proud to serve in the army, who are proud about what they're doing for the Afghan people. And in fact, it is their choice, and they're pleased to do to be part of our Canadian army. But in the same time, they don't choose to come back with injuries. So I told them what I wanted to do with the lump sum payment. And one said, Minister, please give us maximum flexibility. I came back on the plane, and I changed my mind again. I said I should go further than I expected at the beginning. So now, what is in the bill will be, you want it cash, it's still possible. You want to spread it on a certain number of years, it will be possible. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it will be your choice. Or you want to mix, it will be possible to have a part cash and or spread